Stop whatever you are holding. I am sounding the alarm once. I will not sound it again. You are standing on the edge of a tremendous loss. You do not even realize the ground is crumbling. If you scroll past this, you will wake up tomorrow to find the door has quietly shut, and you will have no one to blame but the silence you chose. I watched you last night. It was 2 a.m. The house was completely dark. You held your phone in your hand. You were staring at the screen, waiting for a sign or a message that never came. You told yourself you were just being patient. My beloved child, you were not being patient. You were hiding. And hiding is the exact thing costing you the future I prepared. I am telling you what is moving toward you. I am telling you tonight. I have watched this happen 10,000 times. Before this message ends, you will understand why your current peace is completely fake. You will feel the heavy burden of your hesitation drop from your shoulders, and you will know the exact step to take today. Type Amen if you are ready to hear the hard truth. Notice what you do when a choice must be made. You pick up the phone. You swipe through pages of voices. They mean absolutely nothing to you. You fill the room with noise. You clean a kitchen that is already clean, or you arrange items on a desk while the real work sits ignored. You have called yourself lazy for doing this. Listen to me clearly. You are not lazy. You never were. Here is the hidden truth. A busy schedule and a distracted mind are not signs of poor discipline. They are a shelter. You are using empty busyness as a thick wall to hide from a choice that frightens you. You believe that if you just stay distracted, the scary decision will somehow make itself. It will not. The noise is just a blanket you throw over a ticking clock. You do not have to fix your entire life tonight. I only ask for one tiny crack in that wall. The next time you reach for the screen to avoid the silence, put your hand flat on the table instead. Just sit in the quiet for 10 seconds. 10 seconds is all it takes to break the spell of the noise. Let the silence actually touch you. Do not run from it. Let us go deeper into that silence. I know why you fear it. You are terrified that if you get quiet, you will hear me tell you to step into the unknown, and the unknown feels like a sheer drop. You have convinced yourself that waiting is the most spiritual thing you can do. You tell your friends you are waiting on my timing, but we both know the truth. My timing arrived 3 months ago. You are standing at the station long after the train has arrived. You keep checking your ticket. You pretend the ink is hard to read. You are doing everything except stepping onto the carriage. And the enemy loves this posture. He does not need to destroy you with a massive failure. He only needs to keep you perfectly still until the opportunity rots on the branch. There is a sharp difference between holy waiting and fearful stalling. Holy waiting produces a quiet strength in your chest. It makes you sharp and ready. Fearful stalling makes you exhausted. Look at your own body right now. Your neck is tight. Your breath is shallow. Your stomach turns whenever you think about tomorrow. That is not the peace of a resting soul. It is panic. I did not build you to live in a cage of your own making. I did not give you a spirit of fear. I gave you immense power, yet you have handed the pen over to your doubts and let them write your daily schedule. You ask me for daily bread, but you refuse to walk to the table where I set it. You want the reward of faith without the terrifying step of trusting me in the dark. You have analyzed the risks until your vision is completely blurred. You have made lists of pros and cons, seeking a guarantee that simply does not exist on this earth. I will never give you a map of the entire journey. I will only ever give you the lamp for the very next step. If you refuse to take the step, the lamp stays exactly where it is. The light does not move. The alarm is ringing loudly now. I am shaking you awake because the slumber you are in is deadly. Do not try to hit the snooze button with another empty excuse. The time for gathering information is over. The season for preparation has completely passed. You are standing in the doorway blocking your own blessing. It is time to drop the heavy baggage of your endless hesitation. Look closely at what you are protecting. You are protecting a life that you do not even enjoy anymore. You are guarding a comfort zone that feels more like a prison cell every single day. Stop defending the walls that are keeping you trapped. I am offering you the open field, but you must be the one to turn the handle and walk outside. The handle is on the inside of the door. I know the thought moving through your mind right now. You are thinking, you have heard all this before. You stepped out in faith last year and nothing worked. And now you believe that trying again will only bring the exact same disappointment because you kept your promise for 11 days and broke it on the 12th. You are telling me the truth. I was there with you when it fell apart. But listen to the difference today. What you tried back then was just behavior. You forced yourself to act brave while your heart was completely terrified. You built up discipline and carried it until your human strength gave out. And human strength always gives out eventually, because it was never meant to carry a burden this heavy for such a long period of time. You did not fail. You simply worked faithfully on the wrong layer. Let us talk about the signs you keep asking for. You tell your friends you are simply waiting for clear direction. You pray every single morning for an undeniable message. You ask me to write the answer across the sky so you cannot miss it. But you are ignoring the heavy feeling in your own gut, and you are pretending not to hear the quiet voice that has been speaking to you for the past 6 months. You do not need another sign. You already have the answer. You are just terrified of what the answer requires you to do. Taking the step means leaving a comfortable pain for an unfamiliar freedom. It means you can no longer play the victim in your own story. It is much easier to claim confusion than to admit you are afraid, because confusion buys you time while fear requires immediate courage. Stop hiding behind fake confusion. Look at your typical afternoon. You sit on the couch with a dozen important tasks waiting for you. Instead of moving forward, you pick up the phone and scroll through endless pictures of strangers. You waste 2 solid hours doing absolutely nothing of value, and then you go to bed feeling guilty while calling yourself entirely undisciplined. You repeat this destructive cycle every single day. You have a harsh word for yourself on nights like that. You call yourself lazy. You say there is something fundamentally broken inside you. You believe you lack the willpower that everyone else seems to have. My child, that word has never fit you, because you have carried other people through terrible storms they barely survived. A lazy soul does not do that. Laziness has nothing to do with your current paralysis. Here is the hidden truth about your schedule. A busy routine is not always the sign of a full life. Sometimes it is a thick wall built carefully to protect you from a scary decision. Empty busyness is your favorite shelter from the silence, and if you stay distracted enough, you never have to face the terrifying reality of your own unused potential. The noise is just a blanket covering your fear. Go back through all those unfinished projects. Think about the plans you described to your family and never mentioned again. You were not being lazy in those years. You were heavily guarded. Something inside you decided long ago that being unfinished was safer than being judged by people who do not matter. You have not been failing to begin. You have been protecting a deep wound that nobody ever bothered to tend. You must drop the heavy disguise tonight. Do not promise me a massive life overhaul. Just give me 10 minutes of total honesty. Put the device in another room. Sit in the quiet and let the uncomfortable thoughts rise to the surface, because whatever rises up in those 10 minutes is exactly what I am asking you to confront. The fake shelter is crumbling anyway. Step out of it. You cannot afford to play this game anymore. Every day you spend pretending you are waiting on me is a day stolen from your true purpose. The clock does not stop just because you close your eyes. The people who desperately need the fully healed version of you are still waiting for you to step into your proper place. Your hesitation is not just costing you your peace. It is costing them their breakthrough. I know stepping out feels like walking off a cliff. Your mind tells you that staying put is the only way to survive, but staying put is slowly draining the life from your bones. The ground you are fiercely defending is totally barren, and absolutely nothing will ever grow there again no matter how much you water it. I am calling you toward a fertile field. You have to drop the dead branches. I am not asking for your money or a massive public vow. I am asking for one small act of faith to break the paralysis. You need to draw a firm line in the sand today. When you type the words I give you, you stop being a passive listener and you become an active participant in your own rescue. It is a physical declaration that you are finally ready to move. I want you to claim your freedom right now. Do not wait for the end of the message. Do it while the conviction is burning hot in your chest. Leave your old excuses buried in the past, and boldly claim the brand new reality I am handing you today. Type, I will not ignore the alarm if you are ready to walk through the open door. I read what my children write. You sit at your desk with endless lists spread out in front of you. You write down every possible disaster that could happen if you move forward. You spend hours researching things you already know, telling yourself you just need a little more information. You wait for the perfect moment to finally begin. You analyze every single risk until your mind is completely paralyzed. Your friends ask about your plans, and you give them a beautifully crafted excuse. You explain how you are gathering resources and waiting for the right season to unfold. The presentation is flawless. But behind closed doors, you are staring at the exact same blank page you stared at 3 years ago. You are trapped in an endless cycle of preparation. You have a very polite name for this destructive behavior. You call it wisdom. You truly believe you are just being responsible and calculating the cost before you build. You think your extreme caution is a sign of spiritual maturity. My child, that is not wisdom. It is not careful planning at all. It is a sophisticated form of hiding, and it is quietly destroying your future. I am going to name this mechanism so you can clearly see it. This is the polished hiding place. You use perfectionism as a heavy shield to protect yourself from the judgment of others. As long as you are still preparing, nobody can criticize your final work. As long as you refuse to step out, you guarantee that you will never publicly fail. You are terrified of being exposed as inadequate. You would rather hold on to a perfect dream than build a flawed reality. But perfection is a cruel master that will never let you actually live. You think standing perfectly still is the safest choice you can make right now. Listen to me carefully. Standing still is the absolute greatest risk you could possibly take. Look back closely at the last 5 years of your life. Think about the massive opportunities that slipped right through your fingers while you were busy planning. You did not miss them because you were unprepared. You were fully ready. You missed them because you demanded an absolute guarantee of success before you would move your feet. You traded your divine calling for a false sense of security. Every time you stopped just short of the finish line, you were protecting a deeply wounded part of your heart. You were guarding a child who was harshly criticized for making a mistake long ago. You decided that being invisible was much safer than being measured by cruel people. That was not a lack of faith, it was a completely broken survival strategy. The safety you feel right now is a total illusion. The boat is not safe just because it stays tied to the dock forever. A boat tied to the dock eventually rots from the inside out. Your soul is rotting under the heavy weight of unfulfilled potential. The longer you wait for the perfect conditions, the more your spirit shrinks into absolutely nothing. I am telling you the absolute truth tonight. I have watched brilliant people bury their talents in the dirt because they were terrified of getting their hands messy. I will not let you join them. I have already provided everything you need for the very next step. The perfection you are desperately seeking does not exist anywhere on this earth. You must understand how I view your mistakes. I am not standing over you with a red pen waiting to mark your failures. I am a father watching his beloved child learn how to walk. A father does not punish a child for stumbling on the living room floor. He rejoices that the child had the incredible courage to stand up. Your clumsy steps bring me immense joy. The wall of hesitation is incredibly high, but it is paper thin. You have spent years staring at it, believing it was made of solid iron. It is not. One firm push will send the entire structure crashing down to the ground. You have given your fears far more authority than they actually possess. It is time to revoke their permission to speak. So, here is your specific assignment for today. It is incredibly simple. I want you to go and do the thing badly, write the terrible first draft, make the awkward phone call. Launch the project before the website is completely finished. Stop polishing the hiding place and step out into the messy light of day. Imperfect action breaks the heavy chain. You do not need my permission to wait another decade. You already gave yourself that tragic permission. But you do need my command to finally move forward. Consider this your direct command. Take one clumsy step today without knowing how the entire journey ends. A flawed beginning is infinitely better than a perfect hesitation. Move your feet right now. The ground will hold you. The sky will not fall. You are completely covered by my grace even when you stumble. I saw every single tear you cried over your stuck life. Not one was wasted in my sight. The long season of hiding is officially over. You are stepping into the open today, and I am walking right beside you. Let me assure you of one final thing before you move. The people who matter will not mock your imperfect start. They will celebrate your immense courage. And the people who mock you do not matter in my kingdom anyway. Do not let imaginary critics keep you frozen in a life you have outgrown. Rise and walk. You asked me for a clear sign to confirm what you already know deep down. I send the sign exactly as you requested. You see it clearly standing right in front of you. And then you immediately ask for a second sign to confirm the first one, because taking action feels far more dangerous than staying confused in the dark. You tell yourself you are just being absolutely certain before you make a move. You pray for clarity when the room is already flooded with brilliant light. You believe that my voice is simply too hard to hear. You complain to your friends that heaven has gone completely silent on you. My beloved child, heaven is absolutely not silent. You are covering your own ears while complaining about the total quiet, because hearing my command would require you to finally abandon your comfortable hiding spot. You are not waiting for me to speak. You are waiting for me to say something easier. You want an assignment that does not require any real bravery. Your mind does not actually resist the hard work. Your mind vigorously resists the terrifying exposure of stepping forward. The work itself is fine, but the possibility of being seen and judged is what freezes your feet. I am going to name this behavior so you can never ignore it again, and you will hear this name ringing in your ears the next time you try to avoid your calling. This is the protective delay. It is a fierce bodyguard who has never been told the war is over. It keeps you safe by keeping you entirely invisible. Look at the dusty drawer of half-finished pages and abandoned dreams. Think about the bold plans you described to your sister and never mentioned again. You were not lazy in those lonely years. You were completely guarded. Something inside you decided long ago that being unfinished was vastly safer than being measured and found wanting. You were fiercely protecting a deep wound that nobody ever bothered to tend, and you sacrificed your own destiny to keep that wound from being touched. But that heavy armor is now crushing the life out of you. If you continue to hide behind the protective delay, you will watch your entire future quietly bleed away. The people who were assigned to bless you will simply walk past your hiding place, because they cannot hand a massive blessing to someone who refuses to stand up and be counted. You will grow incredibly old waiting for a perfect moment that was never promised to arrive. Your caution is stealing your destiny. You are trading your calling for a miserable comfort. You must recognize the hesitation the exact second it rises in your throat. When the familiar urge to wait another day appears, call it by its true name. Say out loud that you are stalling because you are afraid. Honesty strips the delay of all its deceptive power, and the moment you expose the lie to the light, it immediately loses its grip on your throat. You do not need another week to prepare. You need 5 seconds of raw courage to push past the invisible barrier. I am not asking you to conquer the entire world today. I am asking you to break the habit of waiting. When you declare that your waiting season is over, the heavy fog begins to instantly lift. Type, "My hesitation ends today," if you are finally ready to step out of the shadows and claim the territory I set aside for you. I read what my children write. The simple act of typing it breaks the heavy chain holding you back. I have named the protective delay so you would clearly recognize it. I want you to see what your life looks like when you finally drop the heavy shield. Everything I have just shown you was merely the door to a brand new reality, and the life waiting for you is far better than the tiny space you have been fiercely defending. Come with me now and look at the beautiful room standing right behind it. The view from inside will take your breath away. Come with me to a morning not far from today. It is an entirely ordinary weekday, and the sky is doing nothing remarkable at all. You wake up before the loud alarm even sounds. You step out of bed and your feet find the floor without a single argument. You walk to the kitchen and stand at the window with a warm cup in your hand, feeling a deep peace that you have not experienced in over a decade. The air feels incredibly light. The familiar tightening behind your ribs is simply not there anymore. You do not run through a dreadful list of worst-case scenarios before the day has even opened its eyes. You face a major decision that would have paralyzed you a year ago, but today you make the choice in 5 seconds flat without feeling any heavy burden pressing down on your weary shoulders. The fear has completely evaporated. The hesitation is entirely gone. You do not immediately text 3 different people asking for their validation. You do not draft a lengthy apology for taking up space in the world. The silence in the room does not frighten you at all. You stand inside that quiet space with a warm cup in your hand, and nothing inside your mind is frantically running away from the present moment. You are completely still. You finally know you belong exactly where you are. That person is not a beautiful dream. She already exists right now. He is not being assembled somewhere far away out of parts you do not currently have. That peaceful version of you is standing on the other side of the very hesitation you are still holding with both hands, waiting for you to finally drop the heavy baggage. The door is already unlocked. You only need to turn the handle and walk straight through the opening. The distance between you and that beautiful morning is not time. It is permission. And permission is not a magical gift you wait to be handed by someone else. It is a firm sentence you say out loud in a quiet room, claiming your own life back from the endless cycle of waiting. Say it tonight before you sleep. Say that the protective delay is permanently fired, and the morning starts walking toward you. Your new life begins the moment you stop rehearsing for it. There is a thought standing quietly at the back of your mind. I will say it aloud tonight. You are thinking this message is beautiful, but I do not know your exact situation, and you believe your specific case is far too complicated for a simple step of faith. You think this warning is meant for other people. You tell yourself your risks are simply higher. You are absolutely right about the first part. Your story is completely unlike any other story on this earth. I did not make you from a standard pattern, and there has never been a life shaped exactly as yours has been shaped. But listen to me carefully right now. Your beautiful story is unrepeatable. The bitter ache beneath it is not unrepeatable at all. I have sat with the grieving widow and the lonely prisoner. I have comforted the mother who cannot say the truth out loud. Their difficult circumstances shared absolutely nothing in common, but their 3 in the morning moments were completely identical because terror always speaks the exact same language in the dark. Your intricate details belong to you alone. The fear underneath them is older than your actual name. Let us look back at the trail of missed opportunities in your past. You called them bad timing, and you said the open doors simply closed before you could walk through them. Look at the unmistakable pattern instead of the changing details. Every single time you were about to break through, you suddenly found a deeply logical reason to wait. You did not fail because the heavy burden was too much to carry. You stopped because succeeding felt far more dangerous than failing. Failing was familiar to you, and you knew exactly how to survive a crushing disappointment because you had practiced that specific pain for years. But you had no idea how to survive a massive victory. So you quietly sabotaged the victory to protect your own fragile heart. Everything I have told you up to this moment is entirely true. Now I am going to tell you the part that changes what it all means. The enemy was never standing between you and the open door, because the enemy did not need to block someone who was fiercely blocking themselves. You locked the door from the inside and then begged me for a key. You have spent the last half of this hour learning who stole your time. Let me carefully take that answer back out of your hands. Nobody stole it, and it was completely withheld by your own desperate need for total safety in a world that feels unstable. I am about to tell you the one thing I have been waiting for you to stop doing. Do not look away. the heavy chain breaks in the next few minutes. The safety you feel inside your hesitation is a complete illusion. You think you are protecting your peace by avoiding the hard choices, but you are slowly suffocating your destiny in a tiny room of fear. Every day you wait for a perfect guarantee is another day you spend living way beneath your divine privilege. I am speaking with rising intensity because the hour is getting incredibly late. The world needs the fully restored version of you right now, not next year, and certainly not when you finally feel completely ready. Readiness is a total myth invented by fearful people to justify their endless waiting. You will never feel perfectly ready to step into the roaring fire. You must step into the fire while your hands are still shaking, and you must speak the bold truth while your voice is still trembling. Courage is not the complete absence of terror. Courage is doing the terrifying thing because staying perfectly safe has become entirely unbearable. You have reached that unbearable point today. I can feel the exhaustion in your spirit. Count the times this exact cycle has happened to you, not the specific details, but the undeniable shape of the trap. Something is almost yours, and then you hesitate. It slips away, and you tragically build an entire theology out of that loss because it is easier to blame heaven than to face your own hesitation. You tell yourself that this is simply how it goes for you. You believe you are destined to always be second best. That destructive pattern is incredibly real, but you have assigned it the wrong author. It was never a bitter verdict being handed down from heaven. It was the exact same lesson being offered again and again, in a slightly different room each time, because the hard lesson had not yet been taken. What you called a repeating curse was actually a repeating invitation. The reason the painful invitation kept coming back is that I never stop offering, not to you. I will keep presenting the open door until you finally gather the courage to walk through it, but the season for gentle nudging has officially ended. I am drawing a firm line in the dirt today. You can no longer pretend you do not see the massive door standing open. Stay here with me. What I am doing inside your spirit right now is only half finished. If you walk out in the middle of it, you will carry the heavy half forever, and you will never know what the complete healing feels like. There is a bold declaration you must make before the sun goes down. I am preparing your weary heart to finally say the words you have been terrified to say. Do not abandon the holy process now. You have analyzed the shadows long enough. You have consulted your fears far too many times. Your mind is incredibly exhausted from carrying the heavy weight of unmade decisions, and I am about to finally lift that crushing weight off your tired shoulders. But you must be willing to release your tight grip on the familiar pain. The glorious rescue requires your full participation. Think about the physical feeling in your throat when you face a massive opportunity. Your chest suddenly tightens. A heavy wave of guilt washes over you. You instantly search for a logical reason to decline the offer, because accepting it feels incredibly dangerous. You tell yourself that staying small is simply being humble. You back away from the open door. Stepping through it feels like betraying the people you love. You have deeply confused your fear of success with spiritual humility. You think staying in the shadows proves you are a faithful servant. My beloved child, staying hidden does not prove your immense devotion to me. It only proves your absolute devotion to fear. You are fiercely guarding a broken system because you are terrified of what happens when you finally win. You are not afraid of falling down. You are terrified of standing up. Let me reveal exactly where that specific fear was born. You grew up watching the people you love struggle and fail to rise. You learned an unspoken law that told you rising higher than them is a cruel betrayal. So you built a heavy roof over your own potential out of pure love, and you spent decades calling it patience. I name it right now so you hear it clearly. This is the loyalty ceiling. It is not humility. It is misdirected devotion. Look again at all the beautiful ruins you have been ashamed of. You did not abandon those incredible projects out of weakness or laziness. You stopped just short of the finish line because you were protecting someone else. Every time you quit, you were saying you would never outgrow the people who raised you. That is not a fatal defect in your character. That is a loyal heart that was never told the absolute truth. And the truth changes everything. Your staying small has never once made anyone else larger. The heavy ceiling has cost you absolutely everything and given them nothing in return. You dimming your bright light does not help anyone else see better in the dark. The sacrifice you are making is entirely useless. It breaks my heart to watch you shrink. I never asked you to diminish your calling to make other people comfortable. I called you to step entirely out of the shadows. Hear me where you make your final decisions. You call it waiting for a sign, but it is a protective delay hiding your deep fear. Step through the door today before your hesitation costs you absolutely everything. The long season for waiting is completely over. I am tearing down the loyalty ceiling today. The fierce argument ends right now. Not softens, ends. You are not late. You are not inadequate. You are stepping into the fierce light. Every time you got up anyway, I saw it. Every time you kept a quiet promise no one was checking on, I saw it. Every time you swallowed your own fear to help someone else, I saw it. None of it went unwitnessed. Not one single hour of your long struggle was wasted. But the brutal struggle must end today. I am not asking you to try a little harder. I am commanding you to finally walk through the heavy door. Do this exact thing today. Say the name of the person you have been staying small for. Say it quietly to me. Then declare that you finally release the heavy debt. Your rising takes absolutely nothing from them. Your brilliant light is not withdrawn from their quiet room. Then go back to the exact work you abandoned. Take one honest step above the broken ceiling. A ceiling crossed even once loses all its false authority. Do not look for another sign in the empty sky. The sign is the undeniable fire burning in your chest right now. The clear sign is the heavy conviction that you can no longer live inside the tiny cage. I have opened the massive iron gates for you, but I will never force your feet to move. You must choose to walk. I want you to claim your freedom publicly today. Type the words "I reclaim what I almost lost" to seal this new agreement today. I read what my children write. You have stood perfectly still for so long that moving feels like breaking a fundamental law. Break the fake law. Shatter the false agreement you made with your own limitation. Do not let the sacred fire go out tonight. Stand up, take the step, claim your territory before the sun sets. The noise of the world wants you to hesitate just one more day. The enemy knows that if you wait until tomorrow, the burning conviction will fade into a dull memory. He wants you to rationalize your way right back into the comfortable prison cell. Do not give him that tragic victory. You have spent decades making everyone else feel secure while your own soul was quietly starving to death. The starving ends today. You are stepping into a profound season of massive acceleration. What used to take you 10 years to build will now take you 10 months. The heavy resistance is broken because the false ceiling is entirely gone. Breathe in the clean air of your brand new freedom. You are a mighty warrior stepping onto the open battlefield, and you are fully equipped for the absolute victory. Go forward. Listen to me carefully before you take another step. You have made a bold declaration today, but the morning will bring a fierce temptation to rebuild the exact walls we just tore down. The old habit of hiding feels incredibly safe because it is familiar. If you return to that quiet prison, you will not face a sudden disaster. You will face something far worse than a disaster. You will face the brutal regret of a completely wasted calling. I am warning you because the cost of another year in that dark room is unbearably high. You will watch your incredible potential slowly bleed out into absolutely nothing. You will sit at the same table next year and weep over the exact same unmade decisions. I am standing firmly between you and that tragic outcome right now. I refuse to let you walk back into the familiar cage. Do not move away from me today. Every single minute you stay here is pouring fresh iron into your weary bones. The profound healing moving through your chest as you hear this is absolutely real. It is happening because you chose to stay and listen. You must stay to hear the final part of this message. The heavy work inside your spirit is only half finished, and walking away now leaves the delicate wound wide open. Remember the loyalty ceiling I named for you earlier. You have carried that terrible roof for decades to protect the broken people around you. I want to show you the glorious house on the other side of it. Come with me to a quiet room by the time the trees change their colors again. It is an entirely ordinary evening in your own kitchen. A child is sitting quietly at the heavy wooden table. Something is accidentally spilled or broken on the hard floor. You feel the old inherited sentence rise sharply in your throat, and it carries the exact tone of your own harsh childhood. But you do not speak the bitter words out loud. You catch the destructive sentence before it ever leaves your mouth. You set the ancient anger down. You speak with remarkable gentleness instead. You watch the young child relax their tense shoulders. The room does not feel like a dangerous battlefield anymore. The suffocating fear of making a mistake is entirely gone. The child does not constantly read your face to measure the emotional weather of the house. They simply rest in your presence. That beautiful scene is not a distant fantasy or a foolish dream. That is the toxic generational cycle finally ending. It ends in your ordinary kitchen because you chose to break the heavy chain today. The distance between your current struggle and that peaceful evening is not time. It is a firm choice made in a split second. Every single generation before you stood in that exact same moment of hesitation. You are the very first one who actually sees the hidden trap. You are the one who stops the bleeding. You do not need to forgive your entire painful history tonight. You only need to catch the bitter sentence once and choose a different word. The heavy chain shatters the very moment you choose differently. You have carried a massive burden for far too long, and your quiet obedience is finally bearing the sweetest fruit. Do not let the noise of the world steal this profound revelation. The enemy will try to convince you that this massive breakthrough is just temporary emotion. He is a miserable liar. The fierce healing happening in your spirit right now is totally permanent. You are walking into a totally new era of emotional clarity. Your days of playing small to comfort others are over. You are finally stepping into the vast open field I promised you. I know you are exhausted from fighting the invisible battles. You have been strong for everyone else for so many years. But the strength you used to survive the storm is not the same strength you need to live in the sunlight. You need a completely different kind of courage now. You need the courage to actually enjoy the beautiful life you fought so hard to build. Do not let the familiar sadness pull you back into the dark cave. The sadness feels comfortable only because you have known it for so long. Joy feels terrifying because it is unpredictable and wild, but joy is the exact inheritance I wrote into your original design. You must learn how to tolerate the brilliant light without running back to the familiar shadows. I am holding your hand as you cross this frightening border. Every breath you take in this new space is a victory over the darkness. You are rewriting the history of your entire family line with every single choice you make today. That is why the resistance felt so incredibly heavy. You are pushing against decades of inherited fear. The push is over. I am asking you to remain here a little longer. What comes next will sound like the end of our time together. The voice will slow down. The words will become much softer. But that is absolutely not the end. It is the doorway to the final blessing I kept just for you. I saved the most important instruction for the very last moment. Do not put the phone down yet. If you walk away before the blessing, you will miss the specific key I am handing you. The exact sentence you desperately need is waiting for you in the quiet space ahead. Stay exactly where you are. Let the deep peace settle into your anxious mind. The hard work is already done, and the reward is walking toward you right now. Just breathe and receive it. The sacred teaching for today is completely finished. You have clearly heard the hard truth tonight. You have finally faced the heavy walls of your own hesitation. I want to speak to you quietly as a loving father speaks at the exact end of a long day. This final part is a holy blessing for your weary soul. I promised you one final thing earlier in this message. I told you about a specific step you must take to claim your total freedom. You assumed it would be a massive leap into the terrifying unknown. You simply have to drop the heavy disguise you wear, and you must stop calling your intense fear by the holy name of patience. The fake patience is officially over starting right now. You have been absolutely terrified of losing your safe comfort zone, but you were completely blind to the unseen loss happening every single day. Your endless waiting was quietly stealing the exact future you kept begging me to provide. And a dangerous trap that is clearly seen instantly loses all its deceptive power to hold you back from your destiny. That tragic theft officially ends in this room tonight. You are my precious and deeply beloved child. You are the weary watchman standing at the heavy gate for far too long. I am officially relieving you of your demanding daily post. Because you finally stopped fiercely defending your own hesitation, I am pulling you directly out of that dark waiting room. You will no longer shrink back just to make other fearful people feel secure. You have fought a brutal, invisible war for many long years. The silent battles in your busy mind have completely exhausted your physical body. You desperately need to rest your weary soul tonight. Your brilliant mind is finally allowed to stop running the endless calculations, because the final answer has already been securely provided to you. The heavy analysis is completely finished and fully resolved. I have always been sitting in the dark room with you. I was there when you cried painful tears you could not explain to your family. My quiet presence was the only thing keeping you from completely breaking apart. Absolutely nothing in this chaotic world can snatch you away from the glorious destiny I have written for your beautiful life. You are incredibly safe, resting in my mighty hands. You carried a massive weight you were never officially assigned to carry. You hauled it up the steep mountain entirely by yourself. I am taking it completely off your tired shoulders right now. The incredible lightness is your brand new reality, and you must learn how to walk freely in this wonderful open space. Accept the amazing gift with wide open hands today. Tomorrow will certainly bring its own ordinary challenges to your front door. The bright sun will rise exactly as it always does. The busy world will continue to make its loud daily demands. The fully awakened version of you is stepping out to claim the absolute victory, and the enemy is completely terrified of your strength. You confidently face that noisy world as a completely different person. This magnificent breakthrough does not just belong to you alone. It belongs to your entire family line and every future generation. The toxic generational cycle permanently stops in your living room today. The innocent children who quietly watch your daily life will never have to learn the terrible language of fear. You are powerfully changing the spiritual destiny of everyone connected to your name. We have successfully reached the final end of our time together today. Everything I specifically came to say has been spoken clearly and firmly. The heavy iron chains are lying completely broken on the dirty floor. It only requires a few seconds of your total honesty, because a profound truth spoken out loud becomes an unbreakable fortress around you. This is exactly how you close the old door forever. Right now, you are just someone who quietly listened to a video message. In 10 seconds, you can firmly become someone who actively claimed their divine rescue. Those are two completely different people living in two totally different realities. Write the final declaration down in your own name, and firmly refuse to let the darkness steal another day of your precious life. Put your hand on the keyboard and make this profound victory yours. Leave the one word you have been afraid to say below. You already know the exact word ringing in your beautiful mind. Type it now and let this place know you faithfully stayed to the very end. When you hit send today, you are stepping completely out of the cold shadows and walking directly into the glorious warm light. The long, miserable waiting season is finally over. Go forward in absolute peace and total victory.